A little while back, one of my subscribers contacted me on Instagram and said, hey, do you want to come check out some commercial greenhouses? I of course said yes, I'd love to, and that brings me to Fountain Plants. At 45 acres, it's the largest set of greenhouses in Europe. As you can imagine, there is pretty sophisticated automation in place, allowing them to not only monitor but also control everything in all the greenhouses. Farmers around the country will commission Fountain Plants to start their seedlings for the year. The farmers will have their seeds sent directly to Fountain Plants, and they'll be stored in this room until they're ready to plant. The vast majority of them are going to be brassicas, things like cabbages, but there are some other vegetables as well. You'll notice a colourful coating on the seeds, and that's to give them this round shape. It makes it a lot easier for the machines to handle the seeds and place them inside the propagation trays. The process starts here by dumping tons of peat into this hopper, which then uses a conveyor belt to pull that peat through into the next stage. Different size seed trays are used depending on the type of vegetable being grown. These are automatically sent along a conveyor belt where they are filled up with the peat. Once they're filled up, there's a few extra steps to go through. The next step is for a dibber to create a small indentation in each of the cells so that the seed can be placed inside the tray. Once the dibber has done its job, it's time to place the seeds in the tray. And this is done by using a roller that picks up each of these little seeds, nice and round because of the coating. It will then deposit them individually into each of the seed cells. This is monitored visually with a little camera, and if any of the seed cells don't have a seed in it, the process will stop so they can check if there's a problem with the placement. Some more peat is dropped onto the top of the tray to cover over the seeds, and this is brushed off with a very fine brush to get rid of any of the excess. The tray will then pass under a series of 3 more brushes, which gradually get lower, and this makes sure that the peat is at the perfect level. The last part of the process is to wet the seed trays, and this gets the seeds ready for germination. Fountain Plants have another method that they use to start seeds, and that is using seed tape. They have one of the few machines in the world that can do this, and I'm going to let Leighton explain how this all works.
Yeah, so this is where we drop the seed in here. This plate runs up, and with the suction you get a single seed in each one of these cells. This plate then drops over to here, releases the air, and then the seeds drop down all these tubes into the cells on the tape. Yeah, so this machine puts in the vermiculite, as you can see, drops it into the pockets, and then to seal that up, the top layer gets glued on, so this is quite a sticky substance, goes through the rollers and heaters. So this is the folding mechanism. So these are the mobile grippers. They'll come up, pick up the tape and pull it forward. It then folds it in half, so it will fold it over these. So we've got 21 different discs here. They run, as the machine's pulling the tape through, these run against it, so then cut it up into 21 individual strips. Yeah, so you've got to sharpen these when it's running, so it's a pretty dangerous job, but you've just got to take your time with it, really.
So what is the benefit of this? I mean, I can see some obvious benefits. It must be a lot quicker to plant with these?
Yeah, so it's a lot slower process than our conventional seeder.
To actually put them together, but for the farmers...
That's it, but for the farmers, for example, you'd have 8 people on the back of an 8-row conventional planter, whereas this you could run an 8-row planter with only 2 people. So for the labour situation that the UK is going through at the minute, it really helps them out.
And you're also saying before they're trying to come up with a peat-free solution as well.
That's it, so they're trialling peat-free at the moment. It's a lot better for the environment, and I think this is really going to lead the way in seed technology.
So this is the final product after it goes through the whole tape machine process?
Yeah, that's it. So you've got 810 individual cells in one single tray. So ordinarily the most we could fit in is 504, but obviously now we can get 810 lettuce and 840 in the leek.
And how many can you actually do in an hour with this machine?
So this machine at the minute, it's running 21 trays every 6 minutes and 20 seconds. So we're looking at about 200 trays an hour roughly. It's a little bit more expensive, but if they weighed up the options of how much the labour is going to cost them putting their conventionals into the ground, then it probably would work out around the same.
So I believe you actually germinate the seeds yourself and then grow them on, which is why you have these large greenhouses. So
yeah,
this is where you germinate, right?
Yeah, so this is all full of our conventional trays in here. They don't really need to be heated in any way. So they come in here, get covered over. They'll probably be in here for sort of 2 or 3 days before they get taken out and laid in the glass.
So there's no real temperature control?
Not in this area, but for the plant tape, we like to keep that around 18 degrees. And for leeks, they'll be in there for 6 days, and we'll have to rotate those trays over halfway through. Because obviously it's a little bit colder on the ground than it is up high.
And that's predominantly what you're doing the plant tape for, is the leeks. And these ones here, what would these be? What are this row down the right here? What is that?
Let's have a little look, see if we can find out. So we've got a broccoli. A lot of broccoli. For 2 to 3 days they'll stay here, start to germinate, and then they'll go out in the glass. Before they pop through, they'll go out into the glass. Nothing breaks the surface in here.
Have you got any fresh ones out in the glass?
Yeah, we've got plenty.
Let's go and take a look. What temperatures are you aiming for?
We like a happy medium, sort of 15. I mean, if it drops below, it drops below, but we're only frost protected in here anyway, so if it gets too hot though, then we have to start watering more and more, so that's what we want to try and get away from, so that's when the vents will open fully.
So what about summer? Obviously it's going to be hotter than 15 in here.
We just have to open the vents, open the doors, and try and keep it as cool as possible, really. But you can get up to sort of 35, 40 degrees in these houses over the summer.
So what size is this greenhouse?
So this glass house, just this part of it, I think this is only about 1.5 acres.
And your biggest greenhouse?
7
acres.
Yeah, and that's our latest one that we finished off last year.
And in total, how much space do you have?
45 acres. Glasshouse, yeah. So for Brassicas, we know that we're the biggest in Europe. So this was extended a little bit later. This bridge got put in the late 90s, I believe it was. So it's been here sort of 20, 25 years now. And that's when they put up most of this glass over here. And then we extended that last bit last year. We got all finished off, and that's our 7-acre glass house where we keep most of the leeks and stuff. The newer the glass house, they've got taller over the years, so you know sort of roughly how long it's been here. So the previous glass house that we've been in, and that's one of our oldest ones, but this one here, this has only been up 20 years or so.
So why do you want them taller? Is there a reason for that? Managing the climate?
Yeah, it makes it just that little bit easier managing the climate. So obviously heat rises, so the taller you've got, the more heat you can get rid of, and it just helps protect all the plants down low.
Does it make it more difficult to keep warm?
Not really, because it's a big area. As soon as that sun comes out, these start to heat up really quickly. So last week it wasn't particularly warm in the UK, but we had some great sun, and you were sort of 25 degrees in these glass houses.
So these here, is this one big greenhouse sectioned off, or is it multiple greenhouses?
So
how would you count it?
So we count this as 6 different glass houses, but the gantry system runs right from one end to the other. That takes 40 minutes to go from one side to the other. So it's quite a long time it's going for. But yeah, so we've got over here 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19.
So inspiration, what are these?
Broccoli.
Broccoli.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Like we talked about before a little bit, the farmer that commissioned you to grow these will give you the seeds.
Yep, that's it. So they source their own seed from different seed companies across the UK. It gets delivered to us, and then we basically deal with it from there until it goes out on their tractors or trailers to the field.
Yeah, it seems like you mostly do brassicas and that sort of thing. Is that just because you've set up for that?
Yeah, we're set up with that. We know that's our main bag. We know everything about brassicas. But we have ventured into the leeks recently with the plant tape and also the the lettuce with the plant tape, and we've actually just got some trials through for celery, so we're going to give that a go, just to see how that works.
Well, the obvious question for me is, chilies on the menu anytime?
Probably not.
A bit more of a challenge.
Yeah, definitely.
Very high heating costs.
Yes, yeah. So this is like one of our main reservoirs, so we can pump all of the water from the individual reservoirs we've got around the site into this one. It then gets extracted from here and through the filtration system. So this is really key to keep this up, keep this topped up nice, and then it gets dragged out into the filtration system.
That gets spread around to all the greenhouses.
That's it.
I want to say a massive thank you to Leighton for showing me around. The scale of this place is just incredible, and it's just so well set up, and I'm very impressed. Hopefully I've picked up a few tips and tricks to take back with me to my own smaller greenhouses, but all in all, it's been a fantastic day. And I want to say a big thank you also to the team from Fountain Plants. You've been very gracious, and I really appreciate it. Until the next video, thank you so much for watching, and stay spicy.